In an NBA draft where more than half of the first-round picks selected have seen time in the G League, if there's any rookie in the NBA who's disappointed us the most so far, it's Scoot Henderson, the number 3 overall pick in that past NBA draft, who's the first third overall pick in over 2 decades to see time in the G League as a rookie. Henderson was perceived to be a near-generational talent leading into the draft. After a strong showing as a 17-year-old in the NBA G League, he had almost everything you want out of a franchise point guard. Scoot showed an elite ability to get in the paint, make reads, and finish through multiple defenders or above the rim. Henderson also showed his ability to handle the ball in tight spaces and get a shot off over almost anyone, as he did against Victor Wembanyama in a scrimmage against Mets 92 over a year ago. For the past 2 years, Henderson was perceived as a projected top 2 pick unanimously behind generational talent, arguably the greatest NBA draft prospect ever, Victor Wembanyama. But since getting his feet wet in NBA action, he's completely disappointed everyone. The main challenge for Scoot Henderson is his struggle with shooting three-pointers, something everyone knew he needed to get better at. When he entered the NBA, nobody expected him to be excellent at long-range shots, but the reality is, he's worse at threes than we thought he would be. His percentages are not great at all, and at the beginning of the season, Henderson's three-point shooting was very bad, at only 9.5%. But it has improved a little bit to 25%, but it's still not very good. Rookie players usually find it tough to be great at shooting from far away, but for Scoot, who's a 6'2 guard, it's crucial to be able to shoot from long distance. Teams are now starting to play off of him when he gets the ball, giving him open shots, but he's not making the most out of these opportunities. Even though he's struggling with three-pointers, Henderson is excellent at shooting from the mid-range, and his technique looks very good. If he adds a reliable three-point shot to his skills, it will make him a much more versatile player. His ability to drive to the basket, combined with his strength and speed, makes it hard for defenders to stop him. If defenses start playing him closer, thinking he can make three-pointers, Scoot can use his quickness to get past them and score with ease. His skill in creating shots in the mid-range also adds to his versatility. Despite his current struggles, it's important to remember that Scoot Henderson is only 19 years old and is just a rookie in the NBA. Even though his shots aren't always successful, the fact that he's actually looking to take these shots and attempt them unlike Ben Simmons is a good sign. Another problem people are talking about is Henderson having a tough time finishing near the hoop. Even though he did well in the G League where he showed he could score close to the basket with a variety of finishes and showed to have a nice touch with his floater. But since moving to the NBA, his finishing, which was once seen as a strength, is now viewed as a major weakness. And the problem with this is that the main takeaway with Scoot as a prospect is finishing, which is what he's elite at. Although he doesn't have the jumper just yet, he will work on it and add that to his game over time. But the finishing is what was expected to translate straight away, which obviously hasn't happened yet. It's not just looking at the numbers, which alone is pretty rough right now at 35% from the field, but when you watch how he finishes, it seems awkward and like he's struggling, making people wonder if he's having a hard time dealing with the tougher defense and taller opponents in the NBA. Analyzing the film, it's evident that Scoot is still adjusting to how referees call fouls in the NBA. He seems to be expecting calls on marginal contact, affecting his decision-making on drives. With time, he needs to recognize that his strength may not result in calls, similar to more finesse players like Trae Young. Foul trouble has limited Scoot's aggressiveness. As he improves his foul discipline, he can better utilize his physical strengths. It's crucial for him to understand that teams will play more physical on him, given his strong playing style. That's another thing that just looking at the film alone, you can tell Scoot is struggling with. Naturally, NBA bigs are more coordinated, longer, and stronger than the bigs in the G League, so they likely won't bite on a lot of Henderson's moves and have the ability to stay solid on his drives. Scoot responds to this by trying desperately to draw fouls at the rim and chucking up shots from all positions on his drives. It's almost like Henderson knows he won't finish anything on the help defense, so with Scoot, the fix is simple. It's all about reads. All of Henderson's skill is there. His athleticism is there, his touch is there, and his self-creation ability is also there. He just needs to do a better job at reading the defense and finding better ways to make easier shots. Despite the struggles, there are positive signs on tape. Scoot still displays his burst, quickness, and strength when attacking the basket with intent. His mid-range game, especially in the Toronto game, shows promise. When it comes to Scoot Henderson's drives to the rim, there is a noticeable struggle though. Despite excelling in reading defenses and executing efficient moves in the years leading up to his NBA debut, Scoot seems to have lost that touch on the professional stage. In the G League, we saw Scoot excel at navigating past defenders with calculated moves, pickups, and counters. His transition to the NBA has disrupted this proficiency. Attacking the rim, Scoot frequently loses control of the ball or misreads the defense, often resulting in awkward collisions or an inability to secure the favorable angles he once effortlessly exploited. Instead of maintaining the finesse he displayed before, he tends to approach the rim at breakneck speed, neglecting the opportunity to be deceptive and make more strategic reads in the paint. This contrasts sharply with his previous ability to find optimal finishes at the rim. Another problem with Scoot is his passing and turnovers. As a point guard, a good assist-to-turnover ratio is about 2-to-1 or even 3-to-1 for the more elite point guards. But with Scoot, he's currently averaging 4 assists per game and a very underwhelming 3 turnovers a game. But the numbers aren't the only thing to get concerned about. When trying to analyze Scoot's film on what exactly he was looking at, or why he made what pass he did, or what read he was making, it's nearly impossible to understand. On occasional drives to the basket, Scoot has a few instances where he throws weak passes straight to the defense, or some plays where he will toss it to the weak side corner without even looking to see where the defense is. Early in the season, Henderson went down with an ankle injury which sidelined him for multiple weeks. Since his return to the lineup, Henderson has shown positive signs, evident in a career-high 23 points and 10 assists in a recent game. Notably, his driving floater and effective pull-up jumper within the 10 to 14 foot range showcase his scoring abilities. However, he struggles with catching and shooting, which is seen in his low success rate of 15.6% on catch and shoot attempts. Since returning from injury, Scoot has been moved to the bench, where he has been slowly easing back into the NBA game, and also having time to adjust to the level of play. There's a lot of theories for why Scoot hasn't been translating to the NBA, but one big one is about the G League Ignite program itself. While the G League Ignite is a good way for players to get noticed for the NBA draft, players aren't facing real challenges in important games like in college basketball. For prospects playing on the college level, they get to play in front of a more competitive atmosphere and potentially the NCAA tournament, which the G League doesn't have. Most games are meaningless, and the value of a G League championship doesn't mean much to the players. Most just want to try and perform well individually to get a shot in the NBA. This kind of environment definitely could have hurt Henderson's progress. When looking at other top guards from the G League Ignite program who got a high amount of touches like Jalen Green and Jaden Hardy, it adds more of a complexity to the situation. And there are significant similarities within the three players. Score-first guards like Hardy and Green, who led most of Ignite's offense in its first 2 G League seasons, are well known. While Jaden Hardy, who wasn't very good when he was with Ignite, shot 38% from the field and 31% from 3, Jalen Green, who was fairly efficient when he was with the team, scored 53% from the field and 37% from 3. Both of these players had similar roles to Scoot in the G League, and now both Hardy and Green are having a very hard time scoring efficiently in the NBA. Right now, Jaden Hardy is shooting a horrendous 36% from the field and 34% from 3, while Jalen Green is shooting 39% from the field and 31% from 3. Scoot is currently Ignite's 3rd consecutive lead guard to emerge and struggle in the NBA, scoring 37% from the field and 25% from the 3 currently this season. There are many similarities in forcing poor shots that haven't translated to the next level, even when looking at the film on those 3. It's clear from many of their reads that they've been forcing shots on longer, bigger guys. There's many explanations for this, but the primary one might be Ignite's style of play is designated to allow their young players to play freely and independently, rather than forcing them to be in scenarios where they must improve reading the floor in order to score more points. As I've previously stated, the G League and NBA are 2 distinct leagues, so just because you can perform exceptionally well in the G League does not guarantee you that you'll do the same in the NBA. Some of the best G League players occasionally aren't even able to make an NBA rotation. NBA players possess greater physical attributes such as size, speed, agility, strength, and feel for the game. However, there are more fringe players in the G League who could compete with NBA players despite not having the same talent. We therefore can't expect Ignite players to dominate right away against NBA players who are simply more talented and better, given that they are younger and less physically developed than the majority of G League players. So overall, there are a lot of conspiracies on why Scoot Henderson is playing how he's playing right now. The G League Ignite one is a very reasonable argument, and I think despite Scoot's struggles early on, he will find his groove and get everything together. There have been a lot of NBA players who are at the top of the league right now, like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, De'Aaron Fox, and Jamal Murray, who struggled immensely early on. Scoot has all the talent and skill and is in a situation where he can lead this Blazers team, but it's on him to make the adjustments going forward.